China agreed to secretly arm Russia, leaked Pentagon documents reveal. Intercept of Russian intelligence shows Beijing wanted to disguise lethal aid as civilian items, says report. Bro, this is the most America shit I've ever seen. That's crazy. They're calling it China aid. Like US aid. They're calling it China AID. It's crazy. China approved the provision of lethal aid to Russia for its war in Ukraine, but wanted any shipments to remain a secret, according to leaked U.S. government documents. A top-secret intelligence summary dated 23rd of February states that Beijing had approved of incremental provisions of weapons to Moscow, which it would disguise as civilian items. The intelligence was gathered by U.S. agents eavesdropping on Russia's Secret Service discussions, the newspaper reported. The Russians said China's central military... Bro. Yeah, you know what I think is more likely in this circumstance? I mean, maybe they are, but I would believe more likely that like Russia leaked that to America to make it seem like China is more supportive of their efforts in Ukraine than they actually are, or they are directly giving aid and weapons. But it would be in Russia's interest to make it seem like they have more support from China than they actually do, to make it seem like they have more support on the international scale. You know what I mean? This is where I find out whether or not people hate Russia more than China. Because chatters will be like, oh, dude, it's like you're defending China. I'm not. I think there's a very high likelihood that this is real and China is actually giving or actually trying to funnel weapons into Ukraine for the Russians to use. But I feel like as far as who's to gain more from this situation, it would be Russia that gains more from the situation to make it seem like China is actually on their side. Does that make sense? I'm not clicking on dumbass links. Fuck you guys. I know you don't condone harassment, but I caught a perma from TYT today for saying L plus ratio 300 viewer Andy, no Riz. I don't know of any hate campaign against them, but I thought it was kind of funny that they insta-collapsed such an inane comment. Why are you coming here and fucking telling me about it? Take a day off. I don't give a shit. The files were in part of a large batch of leaked classified documents that appeared on the online platform Discord last month. He went to Boston today. It's like identical to the Washington Post article. Yeah, I mean, it's like boilerplate. Clap for a day here as well. Talk to your uncle about unbanning that chatter. Yeah, I don't really care. China vows not to sell arms to any party in the Ukraine war. 2 hours ago, China won't sell weapons to either side in the war in Ukraine, the country's foreign minister said on Friday, responding to Western concerns that Beijing would provide military assistance to Russia. China has maintained that it is neutral in the conflict while backing Russia politically, rhetorically, and economically at a time when Western nations have imposed punishing sanctions and sought to isolate Moscow for its invasion of its neighbor. Oh, this one is just like simply about the Bakhmut cauldron and like the actual like military stuff that's oh, that's why I didn't watch this video, because it's like nerd shit. Anyway, King Zhang, is that how you say it, is the highest level Chinese official to make such an explicit statement about arms sales to Russia. He added that China would also regulate the export of items with dual civilian and military use. Regarding the export of military items, China adopts a prudent and responsible attitude, Qin said at a news conference alongside visiting German counterpart Annalena Baerbock. China will not provide weapons to relevant parties of the conflict and manage and control the export of dual-use items in accordance with laws and regulation. The minister also reiterated China's willingness to help find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. At the same news conference, Qin also blamed Taiwan's government for heightened regional tensions after Beijing held large-scale military drills in an attempt to intimidate the island as it claims as its own territory. The Associated Press has no biases when covering these kinds of things, these kinds of matters. At the very least, they could have said that's what America also sees and openly, publicly says as well in their ongoing cooperative agreement with China. But, you know, that's besides the point. In February, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the U.S. had intelligence suggesting China was considering providing arms and ammunition for Russia and warned that such involvement in the Kremlin's war effort would be a serious problem. The White House on Friday welcomed Qin's pledge that China won't supply weapons to Russia, but expressed a measure of trepidation. As we've said all along, we don't believe it's in China's best interest to move in that direction. We will continue to monitor closely, White House National Security Council spokesman Adrienne Watson said in a statement. European leaders have issued similar warnings even as they visited China, and the European Union's foreign policy chief lashed out at Beijing, saying its support of Russia during the invasion was a blatant violation of its United Nations commitments. In her remarks, Baerbock also referred to China's role as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, saying it bore a special responsibility for helping end the conflict. Not sucking off China is biased? Yes, Rawlsy and liberal. That is exactly what I'm saying. Not sucking off China is biased. But I have to wonder why the Chinese position so far does not include a call for the aggressor Russia to stop the war, she said. We all know that President Vladimir Putin would have the opportunity to do so at any time, and the people in Ukraine would like nothing more than to finally be able to live in peace again. A visit to Moscow last month by Chinese leader Xi Jinping underscored how Beijing did not a single mention. Wait. I guess they did mention it in the beginning where they did say that, like, Beijing has stated time and time again that they want to remain neutral while politically and economically supporting Russia, and simultaneously saying that a ceasefire negotiation and a peace negotiation is necessary. That has been that has been something that they say over and over again about Russia and Ukraine. Anyway, I just don't believe that China could ever beat America in the game of supplying weapons. And it's not like the United States skimmed over it and tried to fill our heads with a load of jargon to switch focus. Are you talking about me? Oh, you're talking about the article itself. Yeah. They basically covered it in the beginning, but then the rest of it is just like, no, China does actually want war, I promise. Here's what all the European leaders are saying about how badly China wants the war to continue. Tensions around the island rose significantly after China deployed warships and fighter planes near Taiwan last weekend in retaliation. Remember, everybody over the weekend was like, dude, Hasan, why are you not covering the military encirclement of Taiwan? World War III is happening. And I was like, I'm not going to cover it because it's the weekend and I want to do fun shit. And I think that, like, there will be no, nothing is going to happen in the way that you think is going to happen. And then it didn't literally happen. And then everybody shut the fuck up. But the next time it happens, they'll say the same thing again, like North Korea, doing missile tests that go towards the northern regions of Japan and then end up fucking, falling in the ocean. But then during the duration, everyone goes, no, it's going to land on landmass. World War III, I promise it's going to happen this time. It could. China insists that its self-governing Taiwan submits to its rule either peacefully or by force, and Qin said the pursuit of independence by Taiwan's government and its foreign supporters, a veiled reference to chief ally United States, were the reason for the tensions. Baerbock warned that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait, through which much of the world's international trade passes, would bring global disaster. True. We therefore view the increased tensions in the Taiwan Strait with great concern, she said, apparently rejecting Baerbock's concerns. Qin said Taiwan was China's internal affair. Taiwan independence and peace cannot coexist, he said. Yeah. Stop saying kin is chin. Okay, my bad. So, there is that. Speaking of China, you always love to see your faves link up